Hello everyone, this is Jay. Welcome to this video on the power rule. This is building on to the last video involving the power rule. And just a reminder, we talked about when we have a term with an exponent that's raised to an exponent, what we do is we multiply the exponents. That's called the power rule. Now in the last video I showed you some examples of how we do that. The only difference was there was one term inside the parentheses that was being raised to an exponent. Now in these examples we're building on that concept and we have more than one term. For example, let's look at this. We have a 5h in the parentheses. So we actually have two terms, a 5 and an h. So when we apply the power rule, we raise both terms to that power. So we have to raise the 5 to the third power and the variable h to the third power. So we end up with 5 to the third power, h to the third power. And we could simplify 5 to the third power and get 125. So our final answer would be 125 h to the third power. Now let's look at two more examples. Here we're going to use the power rule for the term 2abc. That's in parentheses. The a, the b, the c are all variables. So in order to use the power rule correctly, we have to raise all those terms in the parentheses to the fourth power. So we're going to get 2 to the fourth power, a to the fourth power, b to the fourth power, and c to the fourth power. Now, once we're at that point, we can simplify 2 to the fourth and just multiply 2 together 4 times or use a calculator, and it will be 16. A to the fourth, B to the fourth, C to the fourth. And that's our final answer. We cannot simplify any further. Okay, let's look at another example. Here we have a 5 that's a coefficient. It's not in the parentheses, it's out front. And we have x, y to the third power, in parentheses, all raised to the second power. So when we break this down, we want to make sure we don't raise the 5 to the second power, because if we follow the order of operations, it doesn't apply to that. The exponent 2 only applies to the terms in the parentheses, and the 5 is not in the parentheses. So we keep the 5 in front, raise the variable x to the second power, and also raise y to the third to the second power. When we do that, we have to multiply the exponents. So 3 times 2 is 6. So our final answer is 5x squared y to the 6th power.